Well, I was not expecting to be making this type of video today. Oh my goodness. Literally just got home from class from school and obviously as an analyst, things like this on unexplainable, unpredictable, random moves out of nowhere obviously really excite me, but as a Denver Nuggets fan, this is frustrating. This is troubling. This is surprising. This is almost any negative emotion that you could look up is what I am feeling right now. Um, I guess before we start this, we should say welcome to the Play by Play podcast. This is episode number 70. Today we will be talking about the breaking news within the NBA, which is the Denver Nuggets firing both head coach Mike Malone and acting GM Calvin Booth. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, please feel free to subscribe, leave a like, and comment down below, as well as share with your friends. And if you haven't already, just going to mention it real quick. What are you doing? Go ahead and follow us on all social medias, that being TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. All of our ads are going to be down below. And as always, there's always going to be a bar popping up right here. And without further ado, guys, let's stop wasting some time and let's talk about this. So initial thoughts and just pure emotion on this. I was surprised. I knew that there were a lot of talks about some potential change in Denver, whether that was from the general manager perspective, whether that was from a coaching perspective, whether that was even from a team construction perspective. But I didn't expect changes to be happening so soon, and especially in the position that Denver is in right now, where they are 3 games away from the end of the season, a pretty tough 3-game stretch for them as well, where they are just about half a game out from being a play-in team. I mean, they are the 4 seed right now, but as always, the Western Conference is an absolute death trap, is an absolute world war. And at any moment, if you end up slipping and dropping some unexpected games, which Denver has at this moment, they're on a 4-game losing streak, you could drop down to potentially being a playing team. And that's where Denver is as of right now. They had aspirations of going from being, second in the West to now just trying to keep their heads above water. So this was unexpected. I mean, obviously 3 games away, still competing for a top playoff seat, and you go ahead and sack your starting head coach. The general manager, I don't really have any issues with as of this moment in this time frame, just because that's not really going to change anything. But in a stretch that Denver is really going to need all hands on deck, with players like Jamal Murray dealing with injury and being off and on and playing in these games, I mean, you really are kind of shooting yourself in the foot. And Denver is going out and they are promoting David Adelman to their interim head coach. I would assume that this is more or less a tryout for David Adelman to potentially become the starting head coach. And man, what a tryout for him. I mean, let's just discuss with him. Denver is really throwing this guy into the fire. I mean, he has been one of the more sought out after head coaches within the past couple of head coaching cycles within the NBA. Has been called a really great signal caller, play caller, as well as has had a really solid ability to be able to make plays and create sets for Denver's offense. But the dude, he has to go through a 3-game stretch with 3 teams that are virtually playoff teams. And then he gets about a week or 2 to be able to mesh with this team, to figure out his rotation and to get some real experience as a starting head coach. And then the playoffs are on. And so the concerning thing is with an inexperienced head coach, with a guy who's getting in such a small time frame, you kind of wonder if Denver's kind of just closing the book on this season right away. I mean, that's obviously the first thought with things. Again, if they drop these 3 games or even drop, 2 out of the 3, they're going to be a play-in team. Even if they make it out of the play-in, they're going to have to play, obviously either Oklahoma City. Maybe you get lucky and you face an inexperienced Houston team at the 2 seed and you end up the 7 seed. So maybe you could play your way in through there, and then you're playing a 3-6 matchup. But I mean, with how the West is so stacked up, I mean, even if Denver stays put as they are right now, with being fourth in the West, being matched up against the Clippers, Minnesota, I mean, any of those rosters, it really is a bad matchup with how Denver is going into this without Michael Malone. Um, Now, that being said, when it comes to Malone, like I said, I was expecting changes to happen. And I was also a guy, and I mentioned this on a TikTok that I made just a couple of hours ago. So go ahead and check that out once again. All the ads are down below. But I was somebody as a Denver fan that was starting to not really be a fan anymore. I wasn't a fan of there not really being any direction for changes or adjustments in game plan, especially defensively, where Denver this year, once again, is in the bottom half of the league in defensive rating. They rank 20th right now in defensive rating. I was not very keen on the constant up and downs and dry spells that Denver has, either in a 4 to 5 game stretch like they're having right now, or even within a basketball game where Denver seems to have these cold spells where they can't, make a shot for 4, 5, 6 minutes of a time. I was kind of getting tired of that. I was also getting tired of, despite him being a really solid developmental coach, wanting to go out and build a veteran constructed lineup. I mean, he is the guy that twisted Denver's hand in signing Russell Westbrook, which was a move that I was not fond of right away. I was interested in the prospect of Westbrook being in a pick and roll combined with Jokic, getting Westbrook in a downhill motion and getting him to the basket. But teams have seemed to adapt to that and defend that very well throughout the season. And the shooting inconsistencies with Russ have been really what has brought us down this season, not to mention, the constant injuries. So there are parts that aren't Mike Malone's fault as well. Obviously, you can look at the injuries and say, obviously, that he cannot do anything about that. But just the lack of adjustments, the pure explosiveness that he tends to have sometimes on the locker room, on management and whatnot, both publicly within press conferences and privately within one-on-one conversations. That has been really the huge talk of this, is that the vibes have just been really, really low in Denver, that there have been multiple call outs on now former general manager Calvin Booth and the players. A month ago, he had a huge explosion during a press conference where he was getting on the players of, not watching film, having to present players with film and whatnot, and them not working hard. And I think, to be honest, I think that there is just some simple fatigue in Denver. And it is really disappointing because you have a guy right now in Nikola Jokic that is having one of, if not the greatest NBA season of all time. I mean, the man for the month of April so far is averaging 45 points and 12 rebounds, and yet you have not been able to win one single game with that. So there definitely needs to be some adjustments there. It's also disappointing for the fact that I felt that this was a Denver team that could potentially go out and win 2 or 3 straight titles. I mean, when Denver won this thing in 2023, there were serious talks of people looking around and saying, who's going to stop this squad? If they're able to keep majority of their pieces together, what teams are really going to be able to present a challenge to Nikola Jokic and this Denver squad? And within a year or two, it has simply gone down into a complete nosedive. Like I mentioned, whether it's injuries, whether it's just the pure lack of chemistry, whether it's just, multiple free agents not willing to stay in Denver. And I understand that could be attributed to, Denver being a much smaller market and other teams being able to offer more and more money. But Denver has also not done a great job. And this could kind of also get to the point of general manager Calvin Booth. Denver has also not done a great job really managing their salary and really paying players what they're really worth. I mean, signing Michael Porter Jr. to a max deal for a guy who is a defensive liability is not really great value. Giving a big-time extension to somebody like Zeke Naji, somebody who has not shown any real potential on the court, either as a defensive shot blocker, a rebounder, an outside perimeter player. Zeke Naji has not shown anything, but due to him having, more years in the league over guys like Peyton Watson and Julian Strawther and whatnot, Mike Malone just felt much more comfortable in that. But that simply is just not a great way to be spending money. And it has turned to Denver having to go out and let go of guys and lose guys like Bruce Brown, like Jeremy Grant back in 2020, like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope to the Orlando Magic. Denver has really lost multiple core players that either led them up to that championship run or played a huge part within that championship run. And unfortunately for them, they've had to supplement and fill that in with younger guys that as of right now are just not ready. Julian Strawther, Hunter Tyson, Peyton Watson, Jalen Pickett, all of them have been really solid draft picks, especially from the spots that they've been picking. A lot of these guys are second round to late first round picks, and Denver has done a really great job developing them. But at this point where Denver is in the heat of a heated battle with so many of the top teams in the West, this is a lineup that is just not going to cut it. And so, again, part of that goes on to Malone and some of his type of philosophies of wanting to rely on more veteran-heavy players and players with a lot of experience. Part of that is also on general manager Calvin Booth not putting his foot down and really telling Malone what the real direction of this team should be going forward. Now, in terms of going forward, in terms of Denver moving forward with this, what does this really mean? Well, number one, I think that this means a very, very early playoff exit for Denver. Whether David Adelman is able to bring this team together in a short period of time, I wouldn't put Denver past the second round, to be honest. I think that is their pure ceiling, and that is if, they're able to get into a beneficial spot where they either play an inexperienced Houston team with the 7 seed or you go into a 4-3 seed matchup and then end up matched up against one of the top teams in the West in the second round. I think that second round is your absolute maximum. And because of that, you're looking at another late round pick. You're looking at whether it's Adelman or a brand new head coach, a new head coach coming in, and now a brand new general manager. And the first thing that sprung to my mind was obviously, what does this mean for the team construction? And I got to be honest, and it makes me very, very disappointed and sad because I've really enjoyed watching this Denver core, whether it was Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Nikola Jokic, Aaron Gordon, these guys who have really played a big part. But I really believe that Denver is going to be cleaning house in this following offseason. Now, what does that look like? Obviously, we don't know what that entails. Just putting some hypotheticals out there, could Denver put themselves in a situation where you package guys like Murray, MPJ, maybe Aaron Gordon, and your late first round pick, and you try to make a play for one of these top talents within the draft? Because once again, this has been rumored and speculated to be a generational type draft. I think that there are maybe 2 or 3 players that could play in that role. Do you potentially package those guys and go out and get a young generational point guard, maybe like a Dylan Harper, maybe an explosive wing like an Ace Bailey or a Trey Johnson? Maybe, I'm not saying that this is going to happen, and there's no rumors about this. I'm not saying that Denver's interested in this. I'm just throwing this out there. Maybe you go out and throw Nikola Jokic out there and try to make a play for Cooper Flagg. Maybe you throw Nikola Jokic out there and then go out and get a young center like a Maluak from Duke or a Derek Queen from Maryland. Maybe that's the situation that Denver's moving to. Either way, you're going to be losing value, especially in the short term for a lot of these veteran guys. Even for a young player that is looked at as almost a guarantee to grow up and be a potential all-star, you're going to be losing value immediately. The team is going to be losing games immediately, and you're likely going to have to fill numerous spots with low to mid-tier free agents within the starting lineup. And it begs the question is that enough? If you trade veteran players away and maybe you go out and get a Dylan Harper, is a team of Dylan Harper, Nikola Jokic, Christian Braun possibly, and then, mid-level free agents at the small forward and power forward, and then maybe some of your younger guys coming off the bench like Peyton Watson, Julian Strawther. Is that enough to take advantage of Nikola Jokic's remaining years and make more playoff pushes with, mind you, a very, very inexperienced head coach? I'm not sure. If they don't go without Alderman, Taylor Jenkins is out there, somebody who has also had a real reputation of having explosive outbursts and not great relationships with the players. Mike D'Antoni, maybe. I've always talked him up, and I'm not sure if this is even a possibility, but I have loved Mark Jackson for the longest time. I love the work they did in Golden State. Maybe you go out and grab somebody like that, a fired head coach from a lower level team, like a Charlotte team or whatnot. Maybe you go into that direction. I don't know, man. This move really shows to me that Denver is just in a very sticky situation. They are very stuck at the point that they are, and they needed to make a decision. Either you buy in and go all in with the core, or you clean house. And I think that this really does mean that they are going to go out and clean the room from head to toe, which again is disappointing. As far as Malone, I would not expect him to be out in the market for very long, especially if a lot of lower level teams who have younger guys have open coaching positions. Like, I think that if you look towards the bottom half of the league, like if a San Antonio head coaching job opens up, if Popovich cannot continue into next season, I would not doubt that Coach Malone slides into there. Maybe a Charlotte who is able to get a top 3 pick. Maybe a Utah Jazz wants to go out and hire a Mike Malone. Any of those teams that have young talent, because Malone does great at that. He has gotten them just to this point. I just think that it's overall fatigue. And maybe it could have potentially been also fatigue of these guys being together for, 6, 7, 8 years. I mean, that could definitely happen as well. That is a long time for the same group of players to be together. I mean, we've heard about friction, in documentaries like The Last Dance with the Chicago Bulls, of there being friction within that franchise by the end of it, whether it was between general manager and coach, general manager and players and coach with Phil Jackson and some of the players. The 2000s Lakers, as we know, had some issues. The late Kevin Durant Warriors. I mean, LeBron with the Cavs. I mean, when you're with a core group for a extended period of time, that could be exhausting as well. So overall, I mean, Malone is still, in my opinion, one of the top coaches out there. He is likely going to get a job very quickly. He is likely going to be probably very successful in the job that he does quickly, because he does such a great job at developing young talent, at utilizing and putting guys within the right spots, offensively creating a solid system to cover up certain weaknesses on his team, being able to go out and flip and recruit players onto his team. He's done a great job. So he's definitely going to go out, get get a job very quickly. And as for Denver, man, I mean, it's just, as a fan that watched this team from the ground up, that watched this from, the year that we had Ty Lawson, Wilson Chandler, Danilo Gallinari, Randy Foye, Kenneth Faried, and those guys, those types of teams, to just see how it's grown to now. It's really just sad to see that this is over. It's really sad to see that Denver Nuggets basketball success is likely over, at least for the little short of time, especially if they do decide to clear out and trade some guys. It's really sad. It's disappointing. It's confusing for the timetable. While I think that it was the right move, I just don't think that this was the right time. Give yourself the best opportunity to go out, win playoff games. You're not going to have a very high pick at this point in the season. Go out and make it possible, and then go out and strip this roster away. What's next for Denver? I'm not sure. Let me know what you guys think about this. Do you think that it was the right move? Do you think that it was the right time? I mean, do you think that it was right for Denver to go out and beat the Memphis Grizzlies set record from a couple weeks ago of the latest point to fire a head coach? This now makes, I think I saw an Instagram post today, this now makes four head coaches out of like the last 5 championship runs, I believe, that have fired their head coach following their championship win. I believe it was the Raptors with Nick Nurse. It was Frank Vogel with the Lakers. And then you had Mike Budenholzer with the Bucks. Then obviously this, which, by the way, those previous 3 teams all went kind of down the drain once those 3 head coaches were fired. So I don't know. Things are looking damp. It's a dark day in Denver. And we can only hope that David Adelman is able to revive this season. Obviously, he has experience with the players. He has experience behind Malone. He's looked at as a solid shot caller and signal caller. So hopefully he can mesh with these guys right away, not be too afraid of the big time moment that's coming his way, not being afraid of being thrown into what is a blazing fire, and hopefully taking what this team to potentially a conference finals matchup with the Oklahoma City Thunder or the LA Lakers or the Houston Rockets or any other team that decides to challenge for that. It's a dark day in Denver. Things are going downhill. I'm sad. I'm frustrated. I'm pissed. But I'm also not surprised, and in some ways with the move, kind of happy. So let me know what you guys think. What did you think about the move? Who do you think the Denver should hire? Do you think that they should clean house? Do you think that they should buy in with this current roster? So many questions to answer, and I can't wait to hear your guys' answers within the comments. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, please feel free to subscribe, leave a like, and comment down below, and feel free to share with your friends. And if you haven't already, come on, man. What are you doing? Go ahead and follow us on all social medias, that being TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. All of the ads are down below. And like always, there's going to be a bar popping up right below me right here. And without further ado, guys, I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.